So now let me introduce you to my next presenter. I love this presenter. I just think she's awesome. And there's so many things I think she's... okay, I'm going to say she's cute, but she's also very powerful. She is like this little stick of dynamite that you're like, oh, it's adorable. Oh my gosh, she creates huge things. She really just moves mountains. Nicole Carpenter is the founder of momentity.com. She just published a book, and it's a bestseller, 52 Weeks to Fortify Your Family, 5-minute messages you can use for your family throughout the year. She also has a blog. The Mom Entity is a blog and online community for families, and there's moms from like 7 countries participating in that. She is awesome. Her most important roles, she says, are that of wife to her college sweetheart and mommy to her 4 kiddos, including a set of, I'm going to add, active identical twins. Sound good? Is that fair? Okay. Please welcome Nicole Carpenter to the stage. Is this however you need it? Okay.
Hi. Here we go. Thanks, Adise. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And I'm really excited to share a couple things with you in a minute that weren't on the agenda, because I've just felt really strongly that there's some things in addition to what you'll see here that I get to share with you. But first, I want to take you back to 1999. And I was an 11-year-old girl with babysitting money burning a hole in my pocket. And I was really excited because I was ready to experience the new level of technology that was available to preteens everywhere. You see, I had finally saved up enough money for half. My parents only made me save up half, but these things were expensive. And I finally had enough money for a double cassette tape, CD boombox with detachable speakers. You guys, this was the coolest thing. Can you see it? I mean, it is so amazing that I was able to find this picture on eBay because it's now a vintage collectible, right? This is some cool stuff. And I would take this boombox, and even though it had detachable speakers, they were attached to a wire, so you usually left them on the CD player anyway. And I would lift it up like this, and I'd put it on my hip, and I'd carry it from room to room, and I would rock my music. I had boombox skills. But do you know what I didn't have? Very many CDs. Yeah, that's a problem. I had 1 cassette tape. It was Tiffany. Shout out to Tiffany fans. Woo! And my only CD was Debbie Gibson, Electric Youth. Oh, yeah. Woo! All you 1980s babies out there, you know what I'm talking about. This was some good stuff. Amen. That's right. This is some good stuff. And then one day, my dad won a CD by calling into the radio station. Remember when that was cool? And I became the lucky owner of a brand new CD. Amy Grant, Hearts in Motion. And finally, I had some new material. And I would sing over and over and over again to my second CD. On this CD, on this album, there's a track called Hats. Does anybody know this song? Yeah? Okay, for those of you that don't, I'm going to give you a little rendition of the chorus. And it goes something like this. One day I'm a mother, one day I'm a lover. What am I supposed to do? Hats. Working for a living, all because I'm driven to be the very best for you. Hats. And clearly you can see that I grew up to be a speaker and not a singer, right? There's a reason for that. But as I sang as a teenager, I didn't care how I sounded. And I would sing the lyrics to this song over and over, having no idea what I was even singing. Until a decade later, when I became a lover. And then a few years later, I became a mother, and then a mom, and a mommy, and a mom, right? And then I also became a professional bum wiper, a short order chef, a referee, and before I knew it, I was wearing so many hats that I was completely and totally overwhelmed. Have you ever felt that way? Completely and totally overwhelmed. You're in that vessel, right? And the water is like above your head, and you are just holding on the best that you can. So 5 years ago, I I had 2 kids, 2 cute little kids, and my husband and I decided to have a 3rd baby. So I'm in my OB's office at that first ultrasound, and I'm looking over at that black and white screen, and wouldn't you know, there were 2 heartbeats. And in that moment, I became a twin mom. And I got them here healthy, but I had 4 kids, 5 years old and younger. And I went into overwhelm like nobody's business. I was just lucky to make it to the end of the day with everybody fed and alive. And if they were alive, like, it was a good day, a very good day. And then thankfully, about 18 months later, when the twins were 1.5, I could finally come up for air, and I could breathe. But you know what? I looked around, and I loved my babies, but I didn't love spending time with them. And I loved my husband, but there was no connection anymore. And I had a wonderful home in a great neighborhood, but I didn't know my neighbors. I was lost in motherhood, completely lost in motherhood. And Amy Grant did not make it out to sound like that. In her song, it was way more glamorous. But you know what? I learned something. I learned that there is a solution. And I know that some of you in this audience right now, you know what it's like to feel that overwhelm. You've either been there, or you're there now, or you're going to be soon, because it's inevitable. Everybody feels this overwhelm. But today, I'm really excited to share this solution with you, because what I learned is that it was about the hats that I wasn't wearing and the hats that I was wearing that I just didn't have space for in the closet. And at Mom Entity, we call these hats roles. And I'm going to share more about that today. So if it's okay with you, I want to help you create more time for the things that matter. Is that all right? Hey. Oh, look. Oh, I forgot I had this picture on there. So this is Overwhelm right here. Aren't they cute? Woo. The babies were like 3 weeks old. Oh, my goodness. It's a blur. I don't even know if I slept. Okay. This is the part where I'm adding some things. I don't know. Let's see how far this cord goes. I need the board. Thank you. All right. So when I was in this place of overwhelm, really miserable, my husband, I think, was actually thinking I would leave him or something. I'm not kidding. I realized that I needed to make a change, and it was up to me to make those changes. And I'm a writer, and so I would stay up late, and everybody was asleep, and I'd stay up late, and I'd just type. And through that process, 6 things came to me that I was not doing that I needed to do. And so quickly, I implemented these 6 things into my life, and I turned it around just like that. It was amazing. And I realized that there were so many moms out there that felt the same way that I did, but we don't talk about how much we can't stand our kids because we're supposed to love our kids, right? So I wanted to create a place that we could talk about that balance between your role as a mom and your identity. And so these 6 principles are now the 6 mom resolutions. And if it's okay with you, we don't have time to go over all 6. I would like to gift those to you. Is that okay? Okay, woo, that's right. This is pretty awesome. So this is in a mom relief kit, that's what I call it. It's an audio training that we go over all 6 and a workable guidebook. And all you have to do is text me your name and your email. And here's my phone number, but no stalkers, okay? 801-814-9957. And send me that information, text it to me, and I'll make sure that you get that mom relief kit. So I was going to skip, as you can see, I was going to skip right to mom resolution number 3 today, define and protect your roles, and we'll get there. But I feel like it's really important to talk about mom resolution number 1 and number 2, and you'll see why. Number 1, I am valuable. And mom resolution number 2, dreams are real. One of my friends, she says, your greatest point of pain is your greatest power of influence. And I think that's why this is mom resolution number 1, because I've been training other women on this for years now, because I believe that us understanding our value is so important. And yet, that being said, Just last weekend, I had one of the biggest breakthroughs for myself on this topic of my value. And I wasn't planning on sharing this story, but to make a long story short, for the first time in my life, I looked in the mirror, and who I saw was amazing. There was love and light and truth, and it didn't matter what anybody thought. It didn't matter what anybody said, because I loved me. And I know that that is a possibility for all of you too. And if you need a little reminder, we're actually giving away a little necklace out at my table that says, I am valuable. And you could wear it and remind yourself that every day. Mom resolution number 2, dreams are real. Part of the reason that I was so absolutely miserable is that I had been dreaming big my entire life. I had all of these ideas of what I wanted to do, but then you know what? I became a mom, and none of those dreams mattered anymore. Well, I'm here to tell you that if you still have that dream burning a hole in your heart, it is okay for you to have your dream and be a good parent. You can do both. And I'm living proof because I'm on this stage right now, and my book is behind me. Dreams are real, and you can achieve whatever you want to. All right, now on to mom resolution number 3. Define and protect your roles. Now this is where the good stuff is. Well, the other is good stuff too. But if you're feeling that overwhelm, if you're wondering how you get out of that vessel, how you get that water out, this is your solution. Okay, this is my website, my cute kids now, look. See, like we're all smiling now, finally. Notice I wasn't in that picture before because I could barely survive. Okay, define your roles. You all have a piece of paper, a little note, a white piece of paper, and I've left room for you to take notes. So what I want you to do is grab that out. I'm gonna move this. I feel like he's trying to kiss me over here. I'm taken, sorry. Okay. What are your roles? So just take a minute and write down your roles. And by roles, your roles are who you are, and activities are what you do in your roles. So actually, when I said that I'm a professional bum wiper, that's actually the activity that I do in my role as mother, right? So think about your roles. What are all of your roles? Write them down. Do you need some examples? Are you struggling? No? Yeah? Okay. Some examples would be mother, sister, daughter, spouse, son, father, PTA president, employee, employer, soccer coach, caregiver. Those are all examples of different roles you are, different hats, right? Do you need any more time? You could probably go on for days. If you're really overwhelmed, you could fill up the whole paper. Okay, raise your hand if you need some more time. Okay, good. I think we're great. All right, so I have a question, and you could possibly win my book. This isn't autographed, but if you bring it to me after, I'll autograph it for you. So this is my book, 52 Weeks to Fortify Your Family, 5-minute messages, and it came from a blog post that I did that went viral on Pinterest. It's not the book I thought I would write, but sometimes our dreams and God's dreams are different, and they intertwine a bit. So that's how this book came to be. So raise your hand, and those of you that I work with, that I mentor, you can't answer this question. Raise your hand if you included yourself on the list. 1. Okay, 4 people. So you were the first to raise your hand, so you win the book, okay? Yay! So only about 5% here, can you hand this to her, please? Thank you. Only about 5% at all of the women that I mentor remember to put themselves on their list. And it is the most important role that you have. And so many times we leave ourselves off the list because we are afraid that if we put ourselves first, it makes us self-centered or narcissistic, right? We don't want to be that person. But this doesn't mean that you're spending all day only on you. It just means that you come first and foremost. So go ahead and make sure that you're on your list. And then there's another distinction that I need to make that's really important. Sure. Myself, my individual self, me. Yeah, like it's just you. Like not you as the athlete, but like you as the person, if that makes sense. But exercise could be part of fulfilling on that. That's a great question. The other distinction that we need to make is between mom and home manager, or dad and home manager for the brave guys in the room. So one of the problems that we have, we spend all day, and raise your hand or nod your head if you've ever felt this way. We spend all day doing dishes, mopping the floor, folding laundry, making meals, running carpool, doing homework, answering questions. And then we get to the end of the day and our kids are ornery and we're disconnected from them. Our head hits the pillow at the end of the night and all we can think about is the mom guilt racing through our head because we weren't who we needed to be. And we thought we were being a mom all day, right? But you weren't. You were being a home manager. And so it's really important that you separate these two roles because this is one of the key places that you can find balance in your life, is making sure that you separate your role as a mom from your role as a home manager, or your role as a dad from your role as a home manager, or the other things that you need to do within the walls of your own home. If you leave your house, sometimes this is easier. Like if you work out of the home, it's often easier to segment these parts of your life. But even then, you come home and there's still all of these chores piling up. And unless you've got it hired out, which we all dream of doing, but often we don't get there, it's on your shoulders. So just please make sure that you make the distinction that your role as mom and the things you do as a mom are the things that nurture and strengthen your kids and not keep the house clean, because they're very different. And you need to make sure that you're dipping into both of those roles every day. The next thing that I want you to do is prioritize the roles that you have. So figure out what are your most important roles. Usually like 1 through 6. 1 through 8. Who has more than 8 roles? Raise your hand. 10? We should give a prize for this. 12? 14. Ooh, there's a big light. Okay, we got a winner right here. How many roles do you have? 14. Okay, here. Oh, you already have one. I'll let you find somebody to give it to, okay? This is Secrets to Love Yourself and Unlock Your Dreams. It's one of my audio trainings. Oh! Toss it out like a frisbee. Just go for it. Ready? On your mark, get set. Go. Woo! Okay. Okay, so we gave her a prize, but the truth is that this is a detriment, and you probably feel crazy, stressed out. Like you can barely make it to the end of the day.
Yeah. Like my favorite time of night is putting my son to bed so that I can go to bed.
Yeah. Thanks for that, for sharing that, Brandy. So the problem is that when we've got too many roles, we will never find that sense of balance that we're looking for, and we're going to talk about balance all day today. So I want you to circle the top 6 or top 8, and then, especially for you, Brandy, and for anybody else that's closer, I want you to cross out any roles that you know you can eliminate. And this is hard to do. And in Define Your Time, which is a program that I teach, I hold your hand through this process because this is one of the hardest things to do, is to eliminate. And we actually have a 5-step process to help you do this. But I need you to look at those roles and think, what can I stop right now? And what can I phase out? Because some of these roles you can't just quit overnight or you're a quitter, right? Here's an example. When I got pregnant with the twins, I was a soccer coach. I was coaching my daughter, that cute little girl you saw. And I wanted to be a soccer coach my whole life. It was one of my dreams. But what I realized is that I just couldn't do it. I couldn't have a pregnant belly with 2 babies and coach all these little kids and teach them how to throw in a ball and pick up the ball in the first place. Like, oh, here, throw the ball in. Like, I could barely bend over. So that was one of the roles that I quit, that I dropped, and I haven't taken it back up again. I would love to someday, maybe. But you just have to think, what can I eliminate? Any questions about listing them or prioritizing them? Okay, I want you to turn to your neighbor, turn to the person to your right, and I want you to tell the person to your right your top 2 roles, or top 3 if you feel like sharing. Go ahead. Okay. Okay, come on back to me. Okay, now, can you turn to the person on your left and tell them one role that you're going to eliminate? Oh, I know. You could feel the whole room just get heavy. What role are you going to eliminate? Okay. Okay, come on back. I've got one more question for you. So of those roles that you listed, of your top 6 to 8 that you circled that are important, which one's not getting done? And put a star next to that one. So look at your list and figure out what is not getting done and put a star next to it. And the problem is, the reason that a lot of these things don't get done is that our values and our roles don't match our calendar. That's a big problem. So we need to make sure that our values and our roles are represented on our calendar. John C. Maxwell says, learn to say no to the good so you can say yes to the best. So you have a lot of good things that you just wrote down on your paper, right? But only the ones that are numbered are the best. So we need to learn to say no to the good so that we can say yes to the best. All right, now for part 2 of this process to eliminate overwhelm, we need to protect our roles. So if we work this hard to decide what our top 6 or 8 roles are, and then we protect them with our life, right? We've gone to a lot of work to figure out what's most important in our life. So now we need to protect those things that are important. So let's use a shoe analogy. If you clear out your shoes, and this is maybe a bad analogy because who doesn't love shoes, but if you clean out your closet and you pick like your 8 favorite shoes, now you've got all this space, what do you want to do? Go buy more shoes. Yeah, hello. So you're going to create this space in your life just like you create space in your closet. You cannot replace those shoes. You can't replace the hats, you can't replace the shoes, you can't replace the rolls. Got it? What are you not going to replace? Shoes, rolls, hats, whatever we want to call it, right? So we're going to learn how to protect the roles that we have. And one of the best ways to do this is to learn to say no respectfully without guilt. Who thinks that they could use some help with this? Yeah. This is a common problem that we all have. We say yes to so many things because we're afraid of hurting the relationships that we're in. And that's probably why your list has so many roles on it in the first place, right? Because we can't say no. So how about if we teach you a little formula that you can take home to learn to say no respectfully? Sound good? Yay, woohoo. Okay, so here's the formula. It's pretty easy. Yes. I'll just click through these and then we'll describe them. So it's a yes, no, yes formula. And I get teased because I use a bake sale example sometimes, and people say, Nicole, we don't do bake sales anymore. Sorry. So who has an example of a time that they said yes when they should have said no? And we'll use you as an example. It can be past. PTA. Okay, Michelle, what did they ask you? Like to be the president or to just serve on the PTA? Okay. Oh my gosh, stop! You're ruining my formula. Slow down. Okay. Slow down, Michelle. Okay, so we're gonna use PTA president as our example. So your best friend comes to you and she says, you would make the most awesome PTA president. And don't you just love your kids? Like, your kids are important, right? So you should be PTA president because you'd be great at it. You don't want to be PTA president. You don't have time for PTA president. You already have 10 roles when Nicole told you should only have 6. So you've got to protect the roles that you have. So we're going to use this formula. And first, we're going to start with a positive yes. We're going to positively acknowledge our situation. So let's say your friend's name is Leslie, and you say, Leslie, thank you so much for thinking of me. I'm really honored that you think I would do a good job. So already right now you're affirming that relationship, and you could even say, I know, I do love my kids a whole lot. So you're affirming the conversation that just happened. Now comes the no, right? And this no has to be firm and matter of fact, without any maybes, and not wishy-washy at all. Can you do that? Yeah. Think so? Okay. Especially if you use this formula. So we just said, thank you so much for thinking of me. Unfortunately, I am not able to volunteer on that level right now. And guess what? You can end that conversation right there. You do not have to keep going. You don't owe anybody an explanation. But oftentimes, that soft person inside of us, we want to give them an explanation, right? So you've got 2 choices here. You can continue on and just affirm their relationship, and you can say, but thanks again for thinking of me, and you can end there. Or you can counter with something that you are willing to do that fits in your time schedule. So you could say, so we know Michelle is like awesome on social media, right? So you could say, but you know what, Leslie? I would be so happy to manage the Facebook group for our school. Or I would be so happy to do an email blast. And so now what you've done is you have affirmed your relationship, you've said no to what you don't have time for, and you've come back to something that you feel comfortable with. So you're still contributing, but it's at your level on something that you feel comfortable with. Can you do that? Does that sound doable? Okay, and to define your time, I offer like scripts that you can use over the phone and scripts that you can use in your email, but I think that this is enough that you can really have an impact in protecting those roles. Okay, so let's think about this for a minute. When did you say yes when you should have said no? Who wants to tell us an example? Yes.
So I just had I just had a neighbor call me and say, will you proofread my daughter's massive report? And she didn't use the word massive. And I said, sure, because I have done that in a past life. This thing is 100 pages long.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm hating myself for saying yes, because I should have said no.
Okay.
I should have clarified what she wanted before I said yes.
Yeah, okay. So that's tough, and you can't back out of it, but we can learn from our mistakes, right? Excellent. I've got a little bonus for you. This is something I call the balance cycle. And we've been talking about balance this whole time, but there's a little catch, a little hiccup. I am willing to bet on all 4 of my kids, at least on the days that they don't sleep well. I'm willing to bet them that you think of balance like a ballerina. Like you're wanting to spin these perfect pirouettes all the time and just never fall down and just spin and look pretty and keep your head in one place and just spin around like this, right? Always. Or maybe you want your life to look like the tightrope walker, where you just keep one foot in front of the other. You don't drop anything. You say yes to everybody. You get everything done. You don't let anybody down. And you just make it to the end of the day. What if balance doesn't look like that at all? What if balance is a roller coaster? And that is what I'm proposing to you today, that balance is actually a roller coaster. We have our ups and our downs and our loop-de-loops and our crazy corkscrews, right? So the trick to managing balance and to finding balance, the trick is to having the tools that you need to manage that roller coaster ride. And not just manage it, but throw your hands up in the air and enjoy the ride at all times. So I want to make sure that you have these tools that you need. I love helping women find the tools that they need to find this balance in their life. And on your sheet of paper, you've got some questions that you can answer. They have a cute little question mark. We don't have time to answer them right now, but I would encourage you to do that on your own, of how, where you want balance, where you're struggling with balance, and what the perfect day might look like for you. What the perfect day might feel like for you. Because I want to help you receive that perfect day and have that perfect day on a regular basis. And that's why I offer a program called Define Your Time to so many women that are overwhelmed and struggling to balance their life, their business, and their family. Define Your Time is an online program. It's a value-based program. So we don't just throw a calendar at you and say, have at it. We look first at where the bleeding is coming from. We figure out what your values are and your roles are and your expectations are and how you want your life to look. And then we give you the tools to control your calendar and give you the daily, the weekly, and the monthly systems that you need to find that success in your life. And then when the roller coaster goes totally crazy, you're prepared because you've got the tools that you need. In fact, I guarantee that you'd have access to Define Your Time your whole life. It's a lifetime membership, so you can have access to that on my website anytime. And one of the cool things about the group program that I have with Define Your Time, you get to work with me. So once a week through your 4-week program, we have a group mentoring call where I can answer any questions that you have and really help you implement those things immediately so you can see the results that you're looking for. So today we have a special bonus too. Define Your Time comes with a take-back dinner meal plan toolkit to help you control the grocery shopping and the meal planning, because who doesn't hate cooking dinner? Wait, maybe some of you do. There are some people that I know that love cooking, and that is just not me. We had tacos from Taco Time for dinner last night. I'm dead serious. So, no, it's dead serious. So as a bonus, today you get the Take Back Dinner Toolkit. You also get access to the Mom Entity community, which is fabulous. It's our Mom Academy, and it's a great resource where we dive into those 6 mom resolutions and really implement them in our lives. And then also as a bonus, the first 10 people that join Define Your Time can either pick my book or the CD that you can take home included. So the price for this is just for Define Your Time alone, not for any of the bonuses, is $245. But I really want to leave you guys with value today. I really feel strongly that you're valuable and that your time is valuable. So for today, just until the end of the conference, and I'm leaving early tomorrow, the program is just $145. I've actually never offered it this low before, but Adise I just love Adise so much, and she means so much to me, and you mean so much to me because you mean a lot to her, and so I wanted to offer this to you. Again, if you want that mom relief kit, you can get information by texting me, and there's my information for you also if you have any questions. Katie and Megan have information. Can you pass that out on Define Your Time? So they'll pass out a flyer so you can see more about Define Your Time. But I just want you to know how important I know you are. I know you are valuable. I know that your kids and your family, they need you and they rely on you and they depend on you. And in order for you to show up in that role as mom and wife or husband, in order for you to show up in those roles, I want to help you make time for what matters most. Thank you so much.